Passage 2. International Language of Business.
Felice Yilmaz works for a company in Istanbul and usually speaks Turkish at work. When she travels to England on business, she deals with people there in English. But when she goes to Germany or Brazil, she doesn't use German or Portuguese. Again, she uses English. I use English in Japan and Thailand, too, she says. It's the language of international business. How did English get to be so widely used? It's not the oldest living language or the most beautiful to the ear. It has sounds that are hard to pronounce and words that are hard to spell. So why has this particular language spread so far? Some people would answer by pointing to the influence of movies and music. However, films made in English often appear dubbed into other languages, and many people enjoy songs in English without understanding the words. So, the question remains. Part of the answer can be found in the nature of the language. English has certain qualities that make it especially useful. For one thing, its grammar is quite simple, making it easier to learn. For example, learners of English don't have to worry about whether a noun is masculine, feminine, or neuter, while learners of many other languages do. In German, for example, der Mond, the word for the moon, is masculine, but die Sonne, the sun, is feminine. Anyone would expect the words for girl and woman, das Mädchen and das Weib, to be feminine, but they are neuter. English also has a huge vocabulary. Early English developed from Germanic languages, which gave it its most common words, such as the, is, of, go, you, man, and woman. English has always taken words from other European languages too, including Latin, attract, design, and invent, and Greek, alphabet, mathematics, and theater. After 1066, when invaders from France came to power in England, English gained many French words, such as officer, crime, and service. Since that time, English has welcomed words from many other languages: Spanish, Arabic, Turkish, Urdu, Chinese, and Japanese, to name just a few. To understand the spread of English, we also have to look at political and economic history. During the 1600s and 1700s, people from England traveled all over the world, taking their language to North America, Africa, India, and Australia. New nations were born, and their governments used English. Then, in the 1800s, England led the Industrial Revolution, and London became the world's great financial center. That made English the language of money. In the 1900s, it also became the language of science and air travel. Then came the Internet. As Felice Yilmaz remembers it, people at my company realized that the Internet could be quite useful to us. But at first, everything online was in English. It gave us another reason to know this language. Soon, business people in many countries were going online and using English more and more. Today, there are business schools teaching all their courses in English, even in countries where English is a foreign language. These schools want their students to be ready to do business in international markets. Companies around the world are investing in English classes for their employees. They believe English will be the language of the future. Today, there are about 400 million native speakers of English. While many more people speak Mandarin Chinese, about 900 million, few of them are outside China. People who speak English, on the other hand, live and work all over the world. There are more than 1.5 billion people who speak it as a second, third or fourth language. Yilmaz says, "With so many people using English, I can't imagine any other language taking its place." I think English for business is here to stay.